Recovery is a process of decisions podcast. This podcast is a weekly revealing of the recovery journey of peer support specialist Trent Thomas. Join him on his internal research-driven dive into what to and what not to do in sustaining recovery. His weekly episodes demonstrate that you are not alone, and what we can't do alone, we can do together. This life is hills and valleys, but we were built for struggle. These weekly episodes are a journey into his life lessons as he fulfills his daily mandate to help someone other than himself. Welcome to Recovery is a Process of Decisions podcast. Welcome to the Recovery is a Process of Decisions podcast. This is Trent Thomas, your recovery peer support specialist. This week's episode is entitled Recovery Demands. We use our history to prepare for the future. Life is circular. There's a quote from the Bible that states, "What has been will be again. What has been done will be done again. There is nothing new under the sun." This proverb has particular meaning when in recovery. It is our history that allows us to be prepared for what the future holds. We know if a thing has tricked us in the past, it will present itself again. The same trick or temptation is waiting for us in our future. However, since we have traversed through that trauma in our past, we can prepare our reaction or response to it so it does not have the same effect on us as it had in our past. In some circles, it is called muscle memory. If we know where the furniture is in our homes, even if the lights are off, we can avoid tripping over the furniture. This same dynamic is often true in our everyday lives and the temptations of the disease we suffer from. The constant cries of desire or the urge to repeat past bad decisions is always upon us, awake or asleep. We can remember the good, bad, and otherwise that was caused by those bad decisions. Because we remember those consequences, we can use that as a deterrent to embark on a different course of action. Those memories can become the warning signs we need to promote a change in action. By remembering what happened the last time we faced that dilemma, we can stop and move in another, totally different direction, thus avoiding the same road of disaster we previously traveled on. Change is necessary to sustain recovery. Our future should be different than our past, if we remember the bad past decisions we made while traveling on the road of life. For there truly is nothing new under the sun. What has been will be again, meaning the same mistakes are awaiting us if we don't do anything different. If we don't change where we walk, then we will walk consistently into the same walls and continue to fall in the same holes of our past. Life is circular. If following the wrong path leads us into a trap, then we must change our path. If we are ever to avoid the same outcomes, then we must change the path we follow. Change can become contagious if we allow bad past mistakes to educate us on when and where we choose to travel. Becoming mindful of our bad past decisions can envelop us in a protective bubble of superior knowledge. Our past makes us even more aware of the possibilities of calamity. My past mistakes make me even more keen as to the possibility of mishaps and mayhem. Having lived on both sides of the track, I uniquely know what is possible. Because I've lived in the dark shadows, I know what could spring forth from those hidden alleyways. When I first moved to North Carolina, I had a friend who was involved in an activity with another friend of theirs. I warned her at some point she would become a victim because I noticed addict behavior from her friend. She replied, her friend would never do that because she was a friend, and she knew if she did, I would never speak to her again. I warned her, addicts don't care about consequences. The consequences alone will not stop addict behavior. Not the loss of a job, a family, a home, a car, or even a friend. Not even one's own kids are enough to stop addict behavior. In fact, there is nothing, not even imminent death, that will stop addict behavior. Needless to say, it was not too long after that warning that my suspicions became true, and she was victimized by this so-called friend, who ripped her off and to this day has not spoken to her some 7 years ago. There is nothing new under the sun. What has been will be again. I met a guy who told me as long as they made liquor, he would drink it. Some months after that statement, they found him dead at his kitchen table with a half-empty bottle of scotch. He died of alcohol poisoning. For those that don't know, this happens when the liver can no longer process the filtering of the alcohol from the blood, and thus allows the alcohol to enter the bloodstream, thus causing alcohol poisoning and immediate death. There are consequences for every bad decision. This is a universal law, and no one escapes this fact. Not the rich, famous, intelligent, or ignorant. Not knowing the consequences does not make you exempt of their effect on your life. Just because you have not experienced the effects of the consequences until this time in your life does not excuse one of the eventual devastating effects of those consequences. I often hear, I've been doing this for 20 years and nothing has happened thus far. I know a lady who last year had a hole put in her throat so she could breathe, all due to years-long addiction to cigarettes. In our last conversation, she said she quit smoking cigarettes and wished she would have stopped long ago. I told her I understood because I truly did. I too suffer from the consequences of addictive living and wished I would have stopped long ago before the seriousness of the consequences had kicked in. Fear of the consequences are not enough to ward off the devastation of the effects. Change has its own rewards, just as not changing has its inevitable consequences. Recovery includes using our past as a constant reminder of what to and what not to do to ensure a better, more productive, less consequence-ridden future. Wisdom is defined as when we incorporate the knowledge we have acquired into practice in our lives. From this we understand knowing a truth is not enough. We must practice this truth daily in our lives to become wise. With wisdom comes more life. Just as the reward for doing better and making better decisions means you get to continue to do it. Or in other words, living right means you get to continue to live. Thus, recovery is a decision to live and not die. This is Trent Thomas on another episode of Recovery is a Process of Decisions podcast. You can request a shout out and subscribe to this podcast and receive special in-depth episodes for subscribers only, as well as private personal email account to communicate directly with me for comments and show suggestions. In addition, I'll be doing podcast shout-outs to all those subscribers who request them. As always, your inspiring comments can be left at transnetrecover.com/podcast. Please feel free to follow me on Facebook and Instagram. #TransNetRecover. Thank you and have a blessed day.